gentlemen, I am honored and today I am honored and excited to teach on something which is fairly common. We see it in our catalog, and it's called the food pyramid. What is the food pyramid? The food pyramid is a structure which was designed by the World Health Organization. So, if I may ask you a question, why do we eat food? Is it just to enjoy the taste or to satisfy our hunger or lust of the flesh, as the good book says, or simply to keep our mouths busy doing something? Okay. We eat food in order to live. The foods we eat contain nutrients. Now, these nutrients come in the form of vitamins, minerals, enzymes, water, amino acids, carbohydrates, which you remember are also known as starches, sugars, fats, and oils, and finally, lipids. These wonderful substances sustain our lives by supplying the basic materials that our bodies need in order to perform their daily functions. In other words, without food, your life and my life would grind to a halt. Now, when we eat food, we can either do so in order to sustain our lives in a healthy state, or we could eat in a way that we shorten our lives with ill health. So, are we eating to live or to leave planet Earth? Or to put it differently, are we eating to live or living to eat? So let's answer that for ourselves, but we can also know whether we are answering truthfully as the conversation continues. Now, if we wish to live, then we are looking to eat in a way that keeps us in a state of good health. Your health is your greatest wealth, goes the saying. Why? Because if you aren't alive, you're not even going to manage to be poor. But if you're alive, then the sky is the limit to who or what you can become and to your wealth status. A good nutrition is the foundation of good health. But anyway, what is this thing called nutrition? Weren't we simply talking about food? Here is some important terminology. When we get different kinds of food and combine them in different proportions in order to eat them and hopefully enjoy doing it too, we call that food combination our diet. Diet changes from culture to culture and from one region to another. Here's a question. Do you know the principal diet of the region and culture to which you belong? How does it compare to the WHO food pyramid, which we are about to discuss? That is a homework that I'll leave you to go and look at. You might get some surprises. You might also get some explanations of typical conditions that appear in your region. Nutrition is what your body receives or derives out of your diet. However, good health doesn't only require a good diet, it requires two other things to make the equation complete. So therefore, 1, a good healthy diet plus sufficient exercise, which is also purposeful and correct, not just getting yourself tired. And 3, plenty of rest. And I hope you're not a culprit like me, but they say really, really, really the best is between 6 to 8 hours of straight slumber and not patched up like in the middle of the day, at night. That is when you get some of the best benefits of rest. What is the food pyramid? Well, WHO prepared a simple chart or map that shows the typical amount of each type of food, that is your diet, that must be consumed in order to maintain a healthy life. They called it the healthy food pyramid. Now, in primary school, we are taught what our diet should consist of. You remember? Number 1, carbohydrates. That is fats, sugars, starches. And we were told that they are energy giving. Anybody remember the next one? Protein. We were told that we have first-class proteins, which are the animal proteins, and a few veggies. I think soybean and avocado were put under the first-class proteins because of sort of amino acids that they have. And then we were taught that there are second-class proteins, which are the pulses, legumes, and the nuts. And what did we say proteins were for? You can remember. We were told that they are bodybuilding. Finally, we were taught about vitamins and minerals, and we were told that it gives us health and vitality. Now, add to all of that which we were taught 2 other things. Exercise, which is regular, along with weight control. And under weight control, we now have something known as BMI, or the body mass index. So you go check out your height, take your weight, then you do a bit of math, and you'll see your optimum BMI. And then the 5th thing was enough hydration. 2 to 2.5 liters of water. Now, Africans, I don't know, we are rather poor on this one, but we need hydration. And preferably water daily. But you could take light fruit. And by my age, you'll also be like your tea. But it's really better, like plain tea, Chinese tea, more watery. Not the one that has so much milk in it. So that you can get your good enough hydration per day. And I have friends who say, start with a liter in the morning, do something more in the middle of the day, clear it off earlier in the evening, and then empty your bladder and go sleep. It's not a bad routine, but hydrate. Now we're going to look at this diagram that Andrew has nicely put out for us. And it looks really nice. It is the World Health Organization food pyramid. And I have just a few quick notes on it. It is in a pyramidal form because the heavier volume, the larger percentage, sits at the lower end. And the thing that you need less of sits at the top. And so this structure just came out and it had a pyramidal shape. And pyramid is a very convenient shape for explaining many things. So you can see this very nice looking athlete. And she's looking serious. She's not doing a lazy kind of exercise. She's getting on with it. But beneath, you can see dumbbells, you can see balls, you can see skipping ropes, you can see all manner of things that make for serious exercise. I will add here that swimming is one of the excellent ones to get all your body muscles ticking. And this is the experience I had when we were at Kalangala. We swam. I swam. And the muscles hadn't seen much of this exercise, and I was pretty sore for a day or two thereafter. Do that exercise. Then next, 40% is what we call carbohydrates at school, and it is whole grain foods. That's 40% of your diet. But I'm not talking about posho. I am talking about whole grain. Do you see the picture of these things? You know the challenge that there is with Africans. We're not doing this type of thing much, are we? But 3 servings, that means you eat 3 times, something like this a day, of whole grains, that is whole wheat bread, brown rice, wheat, I don't know what chachu is, soya, oatmeal. And that's our energy giving. So you get your starches and fiber. And I remember we used to say, posho power. Then next to that, 30% of your diet is supposed to be vegetables and fruits. We are thankful that in tropical Africa, there are actually fresh vegetables throughout the year. But I don't know whether we appreciate how this is so vital and so important to us. In other countries, they don't have this. So we have this advantage. Eat that fruit, eat those veggies, go out and eat those veggies. Do you see them? Carrots, tomatoes, the green leafy legumes. And then we have a plethora of wonderful fruits, oranges, pineapples, bananas. That's supposed to be 30% of your diet. And then the thing that we seem to have an appetite for, now I don't know, but when we don't have it, we don't have it. But we get a chance to get our teeth into it. We like flesh. We like juicy red flesh. We like to hear it sizzling. We enjoy flesh. However, we're only supposed to make it 20% of our diet, even it is in plenty. That's a challenge for our African mindset, with all these lovely animals scampering around us. And big game is still available for us. And you can actually still walk out in some places and come back carrying it. But in some of these other countries, you have to walk to a shop to get anything that looks like this kind of protein. 1 to 3 times a day, fish, legumes, eggs, chicken, cheese, nuts. Some of them are foreign to us, but we have the eggs, we've got the legumes, that is our beans, peas, and we are blessed to be near lake sources throughout Uganda. The rivers and the lakes, the fish is there. And we have our chicken. But guys, 20%. Finally, 10% of glucose daily. Unsaturated fats. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this thing called unsaturated fats. That is, these are natural oils. So you have the omega-3, the olive oil, canola, peanut or groundnuts, sunflower, and such. However, the saturated fats, the thing about the saturated fats, do you know the thing that they call shortening? Do you know margarine? Well, these ones have been hydrogenated. They have added hydrogen to some free bond inside that molecule, that hydrocarbon of oil, to convert it to a hardened form so that we can use it for buttering. You know, it works better for baking. So it feels better to the mouth when it's in the hardened form. So human beings came up with what they thought was bright, and they artificially put in a hydrogen bond. So you have the one called margarine, made from particular kinds of vegetables. And in that one, they give it a certain flavor and they try to make it a little bit like butter, but friends, it is never butter. Then the other one is called shortening. And the names we have is Kimbo. The white one is called Kimbo. And I think there are other brand names. There is also a yellow one. I tried to remember the name, but it wouldn't come. But it's in the same kind of semi-triangular plastic bottle, except it's orange and yellow. And inside you find this artificially hardened oil. Well, guess what? It might be good to the taste, but there is no enzyme can cut off that hydrogen bond. So eat it, gets into your bloodstream, it's going nowhere. That bond can't be broken. So of late, we are being encouraged to eat less and less of shortening, use less of it in our food, and less of it in our food. Doesn't matter how much vitamin A, D, E, K, C, and the rest of them that they put in it. That hydrogen bond cannot be broken by any enzyme in your body. So in our home, margarine has largely migrated. So back in the day, my mother used to bake with butter. Butter is okay. Though it comes with its own complications, they used to bake with butter. It's got a very nice flavor, but that is a better thing. If you can't bake with butter, we are going to have to unlearn baking with margarine and start baking with cooking oil. Yes, you can actually bake with oil, but flavor not the same. And texture, not quite the same, but it still makes great cakes. Okay. The conclusion to all of this then is, with the help of proper nutrients, exercise, and a balanced diet, we can slow the aging process and greatly improve our chances for a healthier, pain-free, and possibly longer life. Now, we are going to go off to the unpleasant pyramid. However, in the typical fashion of human beings who are smartest at disobeying the good commandments, we have generally opted for a different diet plan, especially in the urbanized and so-called modernized nations. The modern, or rather the typical modern lifestyle pyramid, it stands on its head. So I'm going to have a quick run through because my time is over, but I was enjoying sharing with you nonetheless. Just take a look at this thing. The first one was eat to live. This one is living to eat, but it might also be eating to live. So you see how much exercise is there, and I really wanted to bring this to our attention. Friends, how much of exercise do you do? Do you even do exercise? Okay, maybe you are very hardworking, but in the urban area, you know, there is even a mindset that says, going to the gym, going for a swim, jogging, getting all these outfits, that's for westernized mindset. So we don't quite do this, do we? Well, you look at what it is doing to your pyramid. Now, for the whole grain foods, I put it that we probably do between 5 to 10% of the thing called brown rice, brown bread. Do we know brown rice? You've been into the shop and you've seen brown rice? Brown rice isn't even common in the shop. We have the polished one. We hardly don't know what this is. And how many of us optionally pick brown bread? Apart from being more expensive, our taste buds are not also adjusted to it. We just go straight for that white bread. If not, we are going for the donut. So my reckoning is we do that 5 to 10%. How about vegetables and fruits? I think we fare somewhat better there because we are tropical and 24/7 and 366 days in a year, we have it. Nonetheless, how many of us would eat really a bowl full of veggies? I've seen how much vegetable they serve even at any meal in a barbecue. Those who get the point, they serve a little bit more, but you look at people's plates and how many people go in for the vegetables. Okay, we are learning, but I would say that we just do somewhere between 10 to 20%. And then sometimes we are complaining that, the cost. So anyway, moving up in the urban areas, I'm not mentioning the villages because I think in the villages they do better. And you will compare the kind of maladies they have back home and the maladies we have here. And maybe when you look at this pyramid, you begin to get an idea of where some of the problem lies. So in the urban areas, protein, I would say about 30%. Actually, we could eat a lot more protein if we could afford it. But anyway, we eat protein at the rate of about 30%. That is actually higher than we need. So I said that we Africans, we have a taste for sizzling red meat that is half done. You know, we like our pork muchomos, and we like the roadside sizzling meat, a little bit burnt also. And if we can lay our hands on it, we could eat volumes, and I'm not lying. I've really seen the urban people give them a chance to get at the meat, and we can just embarrass our hosts. But anyway, so chicken, sausages, roadside meat, that's our protein. Now in urban areas, fats and sugars. So we are guzzling our white rice, white bread, posho, white pasta. Chocolates and sweets we may not do too much, but in Europeanized, westernized countries, they're dying of this thing. We are overdoing our sodas. And of course, the red meat. We are not overdoing the butter because maybe we can't quite afford it. But you know how we even get our pork and then, even the meat, slice off the fat and we let it sizzle off, collect that fat, and we also use it for cooking. And then there is increased consumption of industrially produced, the trans fats. That is the thing that I was telling you, measuring and shortening. And I would say that we do anywhere between 40 to 60% of our diet has this toxic thing. And you can see all the cakes, You can see the fast foods in the urban areas. The crime is here. It's not back. It's not back there. So in the parties, the little snacks and the yogurt, maybe ice cream, maybe not. And you offer somebody a cup of tea. How many sugars will you do to these things? Oh, yes, ma'am, just make it 4 or 5. Now, without exercise, all the starches are unused and converted into adipose tissue or fat cells in the body. What do they say? In 2021, non-communicable disease, NCDs, caused 43 million deaths, accounting for 75% of non-pandemic related deaths globally. 18 million of these were premature, with 82% occurring in low and middle income countries. You know that we don't belong in that bracket, right? Right? The alarming observation is, are we using our eating utensils, that is yeni, the knives and forks, the biomass today, to dig ourselves into early graves? Okay, since time is already running out and I have 2 minutes, I am going to talk about the nutritional gap. There is a nutritional gap. Now, if we tried our best to follow the WHO healthy food pyramid, we still have a nutritional gap, which is not entirely of our own making. Essential nutrients are constantly lost along the way from the farm at harvest, storage, transportation, to the market at storage and handling, into the kitchen at purchase, transportation, storage. Where are we storing? Fridge, freezer, pantry, cellar, storeroom. During preparation, is it fresh, boiled, parboiled, fried, roasted, baked, steamed, or processed in a factory or a processor? Cooking food at high temperature, frying, conventional processing to increase shelf life destroys vital nutrients that the body needs to function properly. Now, before time runs out, I must tell you the final, most up-to-date solution, the Neolife solution. The first essential step towards wellness is to ensure that you are getting the correct amounts of the proper nutrients. And this is in the last picture. Just take a look at this mathematical pyramid. So here to your left, you have your upside down pyramid all wrong, this unhealthy lifestyle. Now you can correct it with a changed dietary mindset and a Neolife core nutrition. What's this core nutrition? Take a look at it. So, for the area of physical activity and weight management, we have our essential vitamin and mineral complex. By the way, there are 23 essential nutrients plus phytoenzymes in there, and they help you with your digestion. They help you with your nutrients management. And that thing is called the essential vitamin and mineral complex. You're trying to write your pyramid up. So now you're into the whole grains. You can't always find them. You can't always buy them, but you can get it in the form of Tre-en-en, which enhances energy and vitality. By the way, there is a long story in Tre-en-en, which I cannot get into, but I will tell you this. An individual is only as healthy as each individual cell is. So to begin this process of coming back to the healthy food pyramid, one must begin with the restoration of the health of each cell within the entire body, beginning with the Tre-en-en detox program, whereby the 3 essential fatty acids 2 phytolipids and 1 sterol are restored to the body cells and tissues, places your body in optimum position to respond well to the intake, uptake, and utilization of the rest of the nutrients in the pyramid. And it also helps and allows removal of waste. This is in order to remain healthy. So going up to fruits and veggies, there are carotenoids. There are 15 of these carotenoids by research, and it's a spectrum, the visible spectrum. So just take a look at your fruit. Does it have a red color, or orange color, a yellow color, and deep green? That's where you're going to find your carotenoids. But failing to get those, it is in your carotenoid complex, and it supports immune function and antioxidant activity. Moving up to your proteins, your Neolife shake. It has got quality protein with 22 amino, and they're essential amino acids. 20 of them are for protein. The other 2 aren't for protein, but they are also necessary. And you know, these are the things that make up your enzymes that help to digest your food. They make up your hormones. They make up your immune system. Neolife Shake was specially designed to meet that need, particularly if you just can't get access to these things in the volumes and quantities in nature. And finally, a little bit of fat and sugar, you get your omega-3. There are actually 8 essential omega-3s, not those 1 or 2 that you find in the supermarket or in the pharmaceutical. There are 8 of them. They're involved in the reduction of inflammation, antioxidant activity, heart and cardiovascular health. There are just too many stories in the research work that the Scientific Advisory Board, led by Mr. or Dr. Arthur First, have researched over 60 years, and they have packed the goodness in these particular nutrients. I am forced, sadly, to come to an end and have overshot by 4 minutes. But being responsible to keep yourself in good health by the good that you eat from the abundance of provision in God's green earth ensures that you will live beyond 70 years, which is 70, or 80 years, which is 80, by virtue of strength, as scripture says. And you will go up to 50 years and more by virtue of healthy lifestyle, wise eating, wisdom, and God's good grace. I thank you, everyone, for listening.